Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about things that happen on the design, build, delivery method. And first, I'm going to start with a little story that has to do with me and a project that I'm running as a design builder and architect at the same time. Um, and then we're going to jump right back into the A201 where we left it at, which is Article 9. We're going to go through each one of these articles one by one. But before I jump into A201 again, let's talk about design build, the design build. So design build is unlike our traditional method. The traditional method is we design it, we send it out to bid, a bidder or contractor puts a bid and gets selected and awarded a contract, and then they begin the construction. In the design build, we design it and we build it. And it's either a contractor that hires an architect or an architect that hires a contractor or a contractor and an architect that form an entity called design builder. And there are multiple. There's architect led, like I said. There's contractor led, and they form an entity. On my project right now, I am acting as the design builder, but I'm also the architect. We drafted the drawings for the project prior to knowing whether we were even gonna build it or not. So it was kind of like a design build process that then became a design build. Does it make sense? Because we never knew we were gonna be building this. Yeah, right. They told us they got bits and they didn't like the bits. We saw the bits and we said, well, I have my own team. I could probably outbid that for sure. So that was pretty straightforward for me. Um, we did it. And we are on at the very end almost of the project right now. So we are, if you guys know the term substantial completion, we are almost a substantial completion. We have not passed all the inspections, but all the work is actually done. In fact, we are at substantial completion as of today. Yesterday we weren't. So today we're substantially complete, meaning everything within the project can be used for its intended purpose. Like the water faucets work, the switches turn the lights on and off, the doors open and close, things actually function safely. They're okay. Now, here's the little caveat on the little story and the reason why I'm doing this. So as you guys have noticed on the A201, and some of you also on the B101 and A201, there is a lot of clauses that basically protect the project. I mean, it's not just protecting the architect or the owner or the contractor, it's protecting the project because we want to build a project. That's the main end. So there are clauses that, if you remember on the A201, deal with unforeseen conditions, things that you cannot see, that you cannot even price. So because you can't see them, you can't price them, you don't know how to go about them. You can't put them on the on your contract because you don't know that they would occur. Unforeseen conditions happen all the time. Existing non-conforming issues, things that they happen just in almost every job. So there's something that you didn't know, that you couldn't see, that needs to be fixed. Well, here's the deal. In my project, I put a line item to replace an existing flooring with a new flooring, right? In the basement. So while we're replacing the new flooring, so the client actually went away on a vacation, by the way, throughout that time. And this is a kind of fast track project. We wanted to get it done within a month and a half. So it was very, very tight. So while the client is on vacation, I don't want to bother my client. But throughout that process, my crew is installing the new flooring. They demo the old flooring, all that's clean. The flooring is kind of the last thing you do too after you paint so that you don't get dirty or whatever. So that was the last thing that we're doing. So they failed to let me know, my flooring guys failed to let me know that there were some inconsistencies in the concrete underlayment that the flooring was going to be receiving. So they didn't let me know. And now, going forward, the client comes back from vacation, sees the floor, and sees that the floor moves. It's kind of bouncy. So the client's telling me yesterday we had a round meeting and we were looking at it. My I guess I would say he's not my supervisor. He's kind of my, like I'm the architect design builder, but he's kind of like the guy that was doing most of the actual work. I was just GCing the job, but not doing the job. So he's there with me and they're looking at it. And the client's really upset. The client's super upset because their floor is bouncy. So looking at the floor, as an architect, I always want a happy client. As a builder, I still also want a happy client. But there is this place in between where you just can't get a happy client 100% because there is something they want that they don't want to pay for, or they don't know they need to pay for. Long story short, my contract does not say I will level the flooring to install the new flooring on top of it. I will fix that. Why? Because I didn't know. I didn't know it wasn't level. So my contract does say I will replace the existing flooring and put a new flooring right on top of it. I will not do any prepping, any cleaning, any of that. It was assumed that the flooring was bounced. Now, yesterday when I'm talking to my client, is a husband and wife, they're talking and they're really mad at us. They're like, you should have told us. Well, when you found out that this was wrong, that this was gonna happen. So my let's say my sub, let's call him Jose. My sub Jose saw the installation of the flooring and he didn't have an issue with the way that the floor was bouncing. Why? Because it's a floating floor and it does bounce. It doesn't matter where, like, unless we pour the concrete for the foundation for the whole basement, we would have never known. We would have never had it perfect, you know. So we didn't pour it. So we knew it was gonna have some bounce, but we didn't know how much. And he saw it and he was like, you know what? I thought it was okay. So he didn't let me know when he saw it. He installed the whole flooring. So now here we are. The consequences of that are we got to rip out the floor, rip out all the wall base all around it, and level it with concrete, and then put it right back down. We can't glue it because that concrete's not treated to be gluing a floating floor onto it. It actually is floating because of that. It's to be floating. So long story short, um, I was in a dilemma. And in my dilemma, I was like, shit, did I screw up? Right? That's the thing you think. Like, did I screw up? Did Jose screw up by not telling me that the floor was gonna be bouncy? But at the same time, if he would have told me last week on Wednesday when he was installing that floor that it was bouncy, it would have become a question to the owner. And that's the A201 says when you encounter unforeseen conditions that are not typical to what you were expecting, you immediately contact the owner. On the regular A201, you contact the owner through the architect, by the way. On this case, I'm a design builder. So the my sub calls me, I call the owner, and my course of action should be, hey, Mr. Owner, I hope you're enjoying your vacation, but I have a little situation. As we're installing the flooring, it's having a lot of issues with the how level the existing floor is. We never put a line item to charge you for leveling the flooring because we didn't know it wasn't level. We could have never known because there was a flooring in there already. So we assumed it was just right. So um, there are two options. We proceed with this as it is, and you will have a bouncy floor, preferably install bouncy floor. We will install it just as per the specifications. Or two, we stop what we're doing right now and issue a change order for you for time. We're gonna modify the time. It's gonna be 4 additional days, and it's gonna be, I'm gonna throw a number at you guys. I don't know, $2,000 more for us to level the whole floor throughout the whole basement. Do you want to proceed with the change? That should, and then it will be, and because time is of the essence, please let us know as soon as possible. I didn't do that. One, because Jose didn't tell me the floor wasn't level. And two, if he would have told me, I would have hesitated to ask the client because they were on vacation. I don't want to bother these people, you know. They want to come back and find a finished project, you know. They don't. So I also bothered them for a small change order for a light, and they said they didn't have any more funds to do anything else, not even a light that was gonna cost, I don't know, $40. So if I would have known from Jose that this project, that this flooring wasn't level, and that it was gonna cost $2,000 more and 4 extra days on a project that they want to do fast track as soon as possible, I probably still would have not told the client because they had already just told me they don't have $40 for a light, you know. But here we are at the other side of the story. I can't go back in time. So they see these, they walk through the whole thing. They're basically doing the punch list. By the way, I'm supposed to do the punch list on this job because I am the contractor. And as you probably will learn or have learned on the 801, the contractor generates the punch list of all the items that are missing. Not the architect, not the owner, the contractor. or the design builder. So I didn't generate I actually generated my internal punch list. I told the client, put together everything you see that you have questions about. Chances are I'm already on it because I'm working on it. I already have my own punch list, and we'll consolidate them. We'll take a look at them together. So that's what we did yesterday. They were really like crying, like this floor is bouncy, looks like a bouncy house, it's horrible, and this and that. And here I am, me and my contractor, Jose, and the owner. And he that was a tough moment. I mean, simple little project, but a tough moment because what do I do? Do I tell them we're gonna rip out that floor, we're gonna fix it, we're gonna pay for it, don't worry about it? Or like, do I, you know, and then I yell at Jose for not telling me. I'm gonna yell at him and say, hey, listen, you should have told me that this was. But I understand, Jose. We've done projects like this, and the floorings are bouncy. That happens. It's okay. I told the clients, well, we're gonna do whatever it is that we need to do to fix this. That's what I said yesterday. Me and Pedro are gonna take care of this. I'm going on vacation. Pedro's actually going on vacation to the same place I am. Not together, actually, by luck of whatever. But long story short, we want to get it done as soon as possible. But today, after I had a cold head and I went to the site and I saw Pedro working on that flooring, I looked at it and I said, wait a minute, I shouldn't be absorbing the cost of this. No, the bouncy floor was the consequence of a change order that wasn't approved, neither was it requested. So because I failed to provide notice that the floor was going to be bouncy and I proceeded with that work, I am at fault in the replacement of that floor and reinstallation of that floor, including also the reinstallation of all the wall base around because we got to take the whole floor out and the wall base also. I failed. That's my failure right there. The cost and time and money on that is on me. I got to pay for that. But the labor to level the floor all throughout the whole basement should have been done. That's the concept of betterment. I don't know if you've heard of that concept, but it's something that should have been done anyway had she approved the change order. I actually just got a voicemail from the client right now as I'm talking to you about this. I'm sure she's yelling at me. But the whole thing is, I said to her, because she said to me, Darwin, there is a lesson to be learned in here. And I'm always listening for lessons to be learned. And it is that there was poor communication. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. But let's go back in time and let's just play pretend for a second. And exactly what I just said to you guys. Hey, Mr. Owner, I know you're on vacation. We have a situation. We got to do this. Option A is we proceed as it is, no problem, no issue. It's gonna be a bouncy floor. Option two is we'll try to fix the bouncy floor by leveling it, but it's a change order and it's gonna cost $2,000. And I still would have said, and they still may be a chance that they will be bounced within the floor because we didn't pour that concrete. We didn't do that existing then. So we can't get it perfect. It would be very expensive to get it perfect. It means pouring concrete all throughout the whole thing and leveling it all over because we don't know what the high point and low points are. We're just trying to patch the work right now. So that would have been the right thing to do. So I said that to my client. And I said, so I will take the hit for removing that floor, for not communicating to you, for removing the wall base. But now opening it up to all of you, don't you guys think that she should still have to pay for the actual leveling of the floor?
So I know like a typical note on our drawings, whenever we do renovations and we remove something that's existing, you patch and make good before you install or make any final adjustments. So to me, it seems like if I was asked this question on a test, I would think that it's the subcontractor's fault for not coming to you first,
Well, it
saying
is it is the subcontractor's fault for not coming to me immediately and telling me,
having
hey,
that
this
first
flooring
point
is
of
not
communication.
level. I didn't have it included in my contract. Let's go through the contract. I don't have any patch work. But as a design builder now, looking at it contractually, this is an unforeseen condition, right? We There was an existing floor in there, right? So the owner needed to pay anyway for leveling this floor if
Mhm.
that's what they wanted. There are two learnings in here. One is in my contract, which I probably have, I should say, a little clause on the unforeseen conditions, like, hey, patchwork on things that we cannot infer are not included. Like we couldn't really ever dream that this was not level.
Mhm.
I've done projects like this, and there was one that was clearly not level, and we poured concrete on it, and it was like $3,000 worth of concrete. So great, we knew it. We opened it, we knew it. We knew we have a problem. So we immediately said, no, we have it on the contract because we saw it as soon as we walked in. This was already a floor, all finished, all done. We took it. So basically, they already had a non-level floor. Doesn't make sense?
It must be a big floor too.
It's a good size, yeah.
Okay.
So they already had a non-level floor. They just never noticed it until
Mhm.
this new flooring was installed. So, so I guess again the learning is my sub should have immediately told me because that's what the 8201 says. If you find any conditions that differ from the normal, the typical,
Materially, yeah.
exactly, you got the wording, materially differs, then you tell the architect. The architect will go and inspect the work and see if it actually does differ from what was ordinarily found there. And if it is not a change, then it's like proceed. That's nothing abnormal. But the other option would have been, yeah, it is completely something that, yeah, it's bizarre. It's just not normal. So they are entitled to additional service. On my end, I'm the design builder. There's not an architect that's gonna come in. I am the architect. So I was like, Pedro was looking at me today like, I want more money. And Jose, well, I use the name Jose, but yeah, I was like, I want more money. So I'm like, oh gosh, you actually are entitled to more money, but I don't even know how to do this, right? So this is an argument for another day. But I guess I kind of touch upon some of the 8201 situation. And like I said, the
Mhm.
learning was that I should have informed the owner right away of the change. But situationally, you get put into this corner where the owner is in a nice pool all the way in Punta Cana, and I don't want to bother them. Neither can they actually come to the site and see it. And I don't want to delay the work by 4 days or 5 days, or not even install the whole floor and come back and be like, why didn't you install the flooring? Well, because of this, you know? So it is kind of like a very tough situation. And if the owner would have not approved a change order for $40 for a little vanity light, why would have gone out of the way to approve this thing? But it would have protected me. No, to let them know would have protected me. Because if they
Mhm.
said proceed, I don't care, then it's on them. Now this thing is becoming a construction change directive because yesterday they told me the mistake and I said I want it fixed. I don't care what it takes. Fix it. And I'm not paying you for removing the flooring and for the trim. In fact, they don't think they're paying me for the actual leveling of the floor, but I'm issuing a change order, and hopefully I don't have to issue a claim. They're friends, they're good people. Like all my clients are great. Like I don't have issues, So I actually the way I have it is, if I have to absorb it, I will absorb it, but I would let them know that they were supposed to pay for the leveling of the floor anyway. Um, and keep friends, right? But if they're acting in good faith, I wouldn't even mind splitting the cost, saying, listen, the cost of putting the flooring back is on me. Any trim, any floor damage that we just have to reinstall again, because it can't just be delicately taken out, right? It's gonna break. Some of it's gonna break. I'll pay for that. Doesn't matter. I'll absorb it. I'll solve some of the cost, but they should still pay for the remaining of the cost. We touched upon change order topic a little bit. Construction change directive, 8201, unforeseen conditions. So, and hopefully I'll get paid. That's the last part. So I'm gonna go jump back right back into the 8201 right now.